clearly left their mark on society. They have evolved into huge libraries spanning multiple genres, with platformers, RPGs, adventure games, and shooters, just to name a few. And with these large varieties of choice, every gamer's favourite franchises are often varied and diverse. That arises the question, what are my favourite video game franchises? Well, this huge question will be made a tidbit easier due to this not being performed by me. As you should all have learned by now, this video will be voiced by me and 9 assorted fellows who auditioned to be part of this video. Now that I've beaten the dead horse, I've got nothing left to say. Let's get started!
What do you get when you take Metal Gear Solid, fuse it with a raccoon, and put it in the hands of Sony Entertainment? Simple. You get Sly Cooper. This series is the best stealth series in my opinion, and it has everything you would expect in a stealth series to have, like pickpocketing, spying, and disguises to help you progress through your mission. In typical stealth game fashion, in most missions if you get caught, you have to either go back to a certain checkpoint, or 2, start the mission over. The characters are also very colorful as you get Sly Cooper, descendant of the Cooper family of thieves, Bentley, the turtle genius, Murray, the lovable powerhouse hippo, Carmelita, the foxy cop who hunts down Sly, and many other characters introduced in Sly 3 Honor Among Thieves. Now, the plot of the first game is that a band of criminals who have something against your family come in and take them out. After they do so, they tear pages out of the Thievius Raccoonus, your family's book of guidelines, and it is your job to get them back and defeat the evil Clockwork. In the second game, you are starting off pulling jobs, but then you find out the villains of this game are trying to resurrect Clockwork. Eventually, Clockwork is revived, but you destroy him forever. In the third game, you find out about the Cooper Vault. A vault your family stored all their treasure in, but you find out it is on a heavily guarded island, and you have to pull out your biggest job ever just to even get close. But to do so, you have to go around the world and recruit other thieves to help you out on this job. Not to mention, this also included dogfighting, which was awesome. Personally, I'm glad the raccoon is back in action for Sly 4, Thieves in Time.
Oh yeah! Look at that climb! It's sexy! Put it to music!
There's always going to be one franchise in mind that exceeds when being transformed from a 2D to 3D aspect and utilizes variety as well as a kind of compelling story, and that's the Rayman series. The original Rayman proved to be an icon in the UK, becoming the best-selling PS1 game, selling over 5 million copies. It was a side-scroller which gave the player some interesting power-ups such as punching. I guess it's a treat. For me, it was probably the most challenging game in the series, which pulled a miraculous difficulty curve not even halfway through the game. The second game had many different versions which I had played and featured a wide upgrade in level design and gameplay. And on the contrary to its predecessor, it was much darker and serious. A fine example would be the Ghost Chicken and the Robot Pirates from Outer Space. But I feel that it's the atmosphere and overall layouts that gives the game its glory. Now let's talk about underrated. 3 is a magic number, and Rayman 3 was mentioned to be a hit-and-miss title where I quite disagree, hence the mini-games that were there. Some of it revolves around voice acting, but I found the fourth wall hilarity and plum juice mishaps with Andre to be quite entertaining. Not to mention the insane power-ups and linear level design which reminds me of the first Rayman but without the overworld. Even Glowbox appeared to be useful at times, even with his use as a punching bag. And recently, we saw the release of Rayman Origins and it didn't disappoint. The creativity in the levels and quirkiness of the characters highlights this game as a good strong point in the series. Overall, what makes Rayman one of my favourites among video games is its ability to have a mix between a mystical and dark atmosphere, with some challenging boss battles and platforming. Rayman himself as a character also has variety. In some games he appears to be carefree, immature and lazy, and then growing up to become selfless by caring for his friends and saving the world from slavery and captivity. But I think this sums up Rayman quite well.
Welcome to Operation Mindfuck!
Mega Man is one of those timeless franchises. It's the classic action platforming franchise, and it's been through so much that it's mind-blowing. Defeat one robot master or Maverick, use their weapon on another. It's a simple concept that was used in so many different ways. There are three definitive series in the Mega Man franchise. They are the Classic Series, the X Series, and the Zero Series. First off, the Classic Series. This is just an addicting series of games. With every new installment in the series, we get new, creative, and sometimes awe-inspiring level designs, with amazing music to boot. Though some might say the series is just a cash-in that's there to make Capcom money, I see otherwise. Then oh man, the X Series. This series takes everything that was great about the Classic Series and expanded upon it. New power-ups, new level designs, and wall jumping! Wall jumping! And then, my favorite, the Zero Series. This series combines the addicting nature of the Classic Series and the wall jumping of the power-up series of the Mega Man X Series. Not to mention that it had its own unique Cyber Elf system, as well as a non-linear approach. Overall, this series is addicting, creative, and, in the end, one of the most fun to play series in all of gaming.
I can imagine what went down at Nintendo. We need a new franchise to print money for us. How about we take all our franchises and throw them together into one? Genius! Aw yeah! This is Nintendo's all-star fighting party that we call Super Smash Bros. This is a fighter that anyone can pick up and play, instead of having to memorize long combo strings and complex movesets. And while there are plenty of single-player modes, the series is an absolute blast when you play with a bunch of friends. Seeing Nintendo's most famous characters, and some who are not quite as famous, is just sheer delight. The N64 original was tons of fun, Melee was even more epic, and Brawl has just so much content and replay value that it's not even funny. And with a new entry on the way for both Wii U and 3DS, I'd like to make a few suggestions. How about a story mode that makes sense? And as far as characters go, I'd like to see Mega Man, Simon Belmont, and Mike Jones from Star Tropics in the next game. You know who I wouldn't want to see? Cloud freaking Struck. Damn fanboys.
The year was 1983. The video game market in the US had crashed, seemingly never to recover, and that home video games would be practically non-existent. However, 2 years later, things would change. A company known as Nintendo had marketed home video games as toys and brought the home video game market back to life, with one game to thank for it. Super Mario Brothers. To be fair though, Super Mario Bros. Wasn't the only good game in the NES's launch titles, but it was certainly the best. It's addicting, challenging, encourages exploration, and even 27 years later has fantastic replay value. And naturally, it spawned countless new games and countless new spin-offs. The games that I've personally played in the franchise are okay at worst and fantastic at best. My personal favorite games in the franchise are New Super Mario Bros. Wii, the original Super Mario Bros.,
Of course!
and most of the Mario Kart series. And now, everybody do the Mario!
Swing your arms from side to side. Come on, it's time to go. Do the Mario. Take one step, and then again, let's do the Mario all together now. got it! It's the Mario!
The Kirby franchise has been near and dear to me ever since I was a kid, and I still love it today. First and foremost, these games are a blast to play. Whether you're racing around the city on your Warp Star, messing with your friends, or running rampant with invincibility candy, there's always something to enjoy in a Kirby game. Another reason why I love this series so much is how adorable it is. I mean, it's kinda hard not to love a franchise with someone as cute as him as the main character. He can stay cute even while burning his enemies, drowning them, electrocuting them, and... Okay... Moving on... But what really drives this franchise home is its innovative gameplay. The idea that a little pink marshmallow can go around stealing the powers of his enemies by eating them was a really creative concept, and it adds a lot of replayability to the series with the copy abilities. Sick of Fire Kirby? Play as Ninja. Sick of Ninja? Play as Spark. Sick of Spark? Play as Hammer. With all the different abilities, the gameplay doesn't get stale, keeping the series fun for a long time. Now, with its adorable protagonist, fun levels, and replayable gameplay, Kirby is clearly one of the greatest franchises out there. Now, if you'll excuse me...
Burn to the ground! Burn to the ground! Burn to the ground!
In order to create a successful video game franchise, you need to establish a specific formula that at least most games in the series will follow. You need to have a main series that has this formula, but innovation has to be added in the future to keep the games fresh. And it's safe to say that ever since 1996, Pokemon has done this superbly. Yes, the bare bones of Pokemon hasn't changed much in 16 years. You're given a starter Pokemon, you transverse the region destroying all that crosses your path, and catching more Pokemon, before you eventually face the Elite Four and the Champion, and become the best trainer of all time. And I think at some point you fight off some bad guys, usually some random terrorists or... oh my god, this guy! But throughout history, Pokemon has had a strange way of constantly keeping it fresh. Whether it's the steady flow of sensational spin-offs or the gradual innovation within the main series, it's managed to maintain its popularity for quite a long time. Of course, there are those people who think Pokemon Red and Blue are God's gift to RPGs, and while I do like the games, my personal favourite lies in Pokemon Gold and Silver. And while I'm talking about Pokemon, I feel that I need to talk about Pokemon Black and White, the latest instalments. Many people have lambasted the story, the Pokemon designs, the lack of Pokemon from other generations with the main adventure, and all I'm going to say is this: Pokemon, quite simply, has never been so good.
Oh boy, Metroid. If any video game series were to be called epic, it would absolutely be this one. The atmosphere this series conveys really immerses the players with the games, giving events major impact. Going around to new planets and discovering new life forms gives the games a huge sense of exploration and gives the player the feeling of actually discovering something new. The upgrades you get in this series are great too. They're unique, creative, and allow even more room for exploration. And the bosses are among the best you will ever find in a video game. Did I mention I love this series? While the series is infamous for its backtracking, it is definitely no game breaker. Entries such as Super Metroid and the Prime Trilogy are held as some of the greatest games of all time, and it's not hard to see why. Also, Metroid has been with Nintendo since the very beginning, and has been on every single Nintendo console. Except the N64. Lastly, Samus Aran is among the most respectable female protagonists in... no, ever. To end this off... wait a minute. Oh no. An obvious joke! Quickly reinforce the space!
I'd be surprised if this wasn't in the top 5. Sonic was created by Sega to rival Mario, and in many ways succeeded to best him. The three things that make the Sonic series epic is the tight platforming, most of the time, epic soundtrack, and most importantly, the characters, especially Bean, Ray, Vector, Mighty, and Fang. Nah, jokes.
Hey, it's all about speed!
You're damn right it is. The key to the Sonic series is the sense of adrenaline that is unlocked when you power through an ancient ruin oasis, a ton of bad guys, or just around that loop-de-loop. His main games also give a sense of exploration for shorter times or upgrades, and many missions and side games to keep players on the hook for hours. Don't get me wrong though, Sonic also draws power from his friends and spin-offs. I personally love Sonic R. Just saying. But whether he's riding an airboard, driving a car, playing pinball, or spin roll, or just hit the ground running, may the blue hedgehog never die. I don't care what anyone says, Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing is amazing, and I can't wait for the sequel. In fact, I think it's better than the Olympic series because—
Alright, yes, you're done here.
What? Wait, no, I'm not done!
Yeah guys, I know, twist ending, never saw it coming. So yeah, Legend of Zelda. I've talked so much about this franchise, and I really don't think there's much more I can say. But I can sure as hell try. While the series is groundbreaking in so many areas, has magnificent music, story, and gameplay, and is one of the most iconic video game series of all time, that's not the reason why I love this franchise so much. I can honestly say that playing these games is an experience, not just a gaming one, but an experience in itself. Prior to first playing my first Zelda game, all games I played were relatively simple and nothing more than games. But after playing these games, I never looked at games the same way. The way these games manage to engross me into the virtual world before me is completely unparalleled. I mean, how many games can make you feel like you have become a character on the screen, and that it is your obligation to save the world from the forces of evil? I'm sorry haters, but you really just can't compare to that sort of talent. This ends this list. I'm Speedster, and Zelda is my undisputed favorite franchise.